All right, guys, we are live doing some quick administrative things, and then we will start. All right, live stream. Here it is. Got it. All right. Well, hi. Hello. We're back. All right. So as you guys know, we did not have a live stream last week, but we are back this week. So thank you so much for coming. I thoroughly enjoy our conversations every Thursday night, and I'm excited to see how you guys are doing and how your January went. So if you are just joining the show tonight, make sure you go into the comments. Let us know where you are watching from. And we love to answer your questions live. So as we go throughout tonight, I've got a special guest here with us tonight that you know and has provided so much valuable information for us over the course of the last year at different times. I am, of course, talking about my friend Brian with Homeowners Financial. So we're going to talk all things lending, and I don't know, we're just going to talk about the real estate industry a little bit. So thank you so much again for joining us, and let's bring Brian on.
Hey.
Thanks for coming back yet again to the crazy. And I'm excited to kind of see what comments we have show up tonight. So yeah, how was your January? Like, has it been as crazy as mine?
Well, it was pretty uneventful to start off, and then at the very end, it absolutely just went bonkers on me. Went gangbusters. So yeah.
We set as a team, we set like 26 appointments for new clients in January.
That's awesome.
And I think between me and Christy set like 12 of those. I think I set 8 to 10 of them. It was nuts.
12, that's it? That's all, Christy? Did she
12.
take time off? I'm just kidding.
She did actually.
Did she really?
Believe it or not.
So
yeah,
I'm hearing like 25 is what she would have had, right, if she didn't take time off.
I mean, at the beginning of January, I mean, she was gone for almost the entire first week of January on a cruise.
That's right. I forgot about the cruise. Look, it made me jealous, so I had to block it out of my,
I mean, that's what happens in like, isn't it whenever you go out of town, you're going to get super busy in this in real estate? Like, it doesn't matter. You go out of town, you're just, all the business is going to show up.
Send it back out.
It's like, like I'm getting ready, not this week, not next week, the week following. So in about a week and a half, I'm headed to Las Vegas for a conference. And right now, like last week, I met with 3 new sellers. This week, by the end of tomorrow, I'll have met with 4 new people that are looking to sell their house and somebody looking to buy. It's insane. It's just, it's like after New Year's, we hit just the gas pedal and we've been super busy. Is that kind of the same thing in lending?
Well, that's what I'm feeling. I had theories on this, by the way. I'd like to hear what your theory is on why that happened.
Okay. Tell me. Okay. You want me to start?
Yeah, you first. You first.
So my theory about that is, one, I mean, we talked back around election time or a couple months before that, a couple weeks before that, about like elections really don't change housing prices. They don't change like what's going on.
Right.
So one, I do think there was pent up demand and people that were waiting to see how the election panned out. And then holidays, of course, I think that slows everybody down. And then I also think there were a few people that meant that were going to buy a house back in the fall. So when the hurricane came through, it slowed everything down for a couple of weeks as well.
Yep.
So I think we had a trifecta. but that's
Big
my
time.
thought.
It's like the
And
perfect storm. No pun
well,
intended.
well, that, and then also we're in a pretty conservative state. If for when you look at who won the presidency
Mhm.
and where we live, like I think it makes sense. So
Yeah.
what's your feeling?
I agree with you. I think the big one was Helene.
Hmm.
It's one thing that, it's one thing to have, maybe a tornado come through or, maybe a winter storm at last couple of days, maybe knocks the power out a little bit.
Hmm.
What I found interesting is because you can look at regional real estate statistics
Hmm.
and you may notice some areas didn't quite feel that lull. I was having this conversation with upper management, especially regional for my company. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
hey, what's going on? What happened? It's like, well, let me explain to you what Helene did to our area because we were dead smack in the middle of this thing, right?
Hmm.
So you're talking about contracts falling out. People who were maybe planning on putting their house on the market can't because the tree fell right through their house.
Yeah.
So that was a huge slowdown. And then you made a really good point. I didn't even think about this when I was talking to people. I never brought up the election. Kind of for whatever reason forgot about it. I was just like, and then the holidays there because you're thinking about cleaning up your house. If
Yeah.
you had minimal damage, for 30, 45 days, and then
Yeah.
next thing you know, it's Thanksgiving. It's kind of hard to hit the go button on that. So I think
Yeah.
a lot of people are waiting to the turn of the year. Everything's over.
Hmm.
And it was funny because I remember you posted on Facebook, what was it, January 2nd or 3rd,
Hmm.
that it was just gangbusters for you. And
Yeah.
I was like, come on, let it be me next.
Let's
Let it be me. It
go.
took 3 weeks, but
Yeah.
we started rocking and rolling. So I think all those things.
Yeah. And I mean, and it was right after New Year's. We were like, okay, everybody was like, hey, we've been thinking about this. And even if I had to set the appointments out like 2-3 weeks in advance, even like
Mhm.
people were contacting us. So, and I know like one of my friends, John, did that. He contacted me right after the new year. You got him pre-approved, and but I couldn't meet with them for like 3 weeks because of their schedules and like sickness and all this stuff. So,
Yeah. I want to commend you on something real quick. You
sure.
brought up something. I didn't even think about this. I love how you give an opportunity for, a lender like me to talk to your client, advise them and break down the numbers before you go and meet them.
Mhm.
It's so it reduces the stress level for you, for the
Yeah.
buyer. Instead of this happens a lot, to be like, oh, I see a house that I really love. We actually went and saw it, and now I got to get pre-approved, and
Mhm.
it's 8:30 at night, and you're like,
No.
but
I'm like,
giving
we
us the
can do
opportunity.
it, but
Yeah, well, I mean, we could do it for sure.
yeah.
But when we talk about stress levels, because stress comes naturally
Mhm.
in the process, right? But
Yeah.
when you can take it in an order, do it in an orderly fashion and
Mhm.
educate, get everything set up. My biggest thing is game planning. If you can have a strategy and a game plan, you have that clarity, you and your client can confidently step forward into the next step, right? I just want to tell
Mhm.
you how much I appreciate
Yeah.
that process.
Well,
It makes it so much easier.
it always does, and we have that question, like, I had somebody tonight, they called in and they were like, "We really love this house, we wanna see it tomorrow," and I was like, "Cool, are you pre-approved? Like, have you talked to a lender even?" And bless his heart, found out, like, he quit his job in New York, sold his condo, moved here, and he doesn't have a job,
Mm.
and I'm like, are you paying cash or financing? And he was like, oh, like, yeah, I definitely will need financing, but I've got like 30 to $40,000. And I was like, let's get the job first, then we'll go see the house.
Oh, that's a big one. That's a
Yeah,
big
and
one.
like, so I went ahead, set up the meeting. He'll probably be reaching out to you over the weekend, I bet. But yeah, so but he moved down here from New York, and that's a whole different beast there, when it comes to like selling houses and so on, because sometimes it takes like 2 to 3 months to close on a house there. It's
That's
it's
wild.
nuts.
That's hard to
So,
plan around too, right? You
mhm.
know? It's interesting too, speaking of people moving, Get, just know it's just not news to anybody. I'm not going to shock anybody. I'm saying we get a lot of those, right? You get a lot of those.
Yeah.
From your YouTube channel. Shout out your YouTube channel,
Hey,
right?
Pete.
But it's interesting when we get those, and people. I've talked to some people. They're like, "Do you have a job lined up?" And they'll go, "No, I don't have a job lined up." Just want to throw it out there. It's very important, by the way, to have a job lined up if you want to get financing.
It is. We've talked to a couple of people that like they don't have jobs lined up, or it's like, well, like we had somebody at the beginning of last year that was retiring and was like, well, how are we gonna? They ended up opening a HELOC on their house, and making everything happen. So I think that was the Taylors.
Getting creative is what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
And that's where not just promoting myself here, but just all the lenders out there who are like me,
right?
Who want to dig deep and try to get creative. That's that's one of the reasons why you need to talk to a lender, before you start trying to go look at houses and stuff. Get an idea.
So crazy expensive. It can be expensive if you don't talk to a lender first. And people go like, well, why? And it's like, well, if you go under contract without, and believe it or not, I've seen it where realtors in transactions don't do their due diligence and their fiduciary duty to make sure a pre-approval letter is there. And they actually find out, well, we have a contract on the house. Everybody's super excited and happy. And they start to go ahead and schedule like inspections. And then they find out they can't get approved. And there you go. You just wasted hundreds of dollars at that point. It's just expensive not to do it. So
very expensive.
But let's see who we got over here. John's here. Hey, John, how's it going from New Jersey?
Keep the cold to yourself.
It's
74 down here.
See, John has Henry, and we like Henry. Henry's his pup.
What kind of pup?
John, I forget what kind of dog is Henry? We gotta do that. We've got Eric. Eric, did you move to Gaffney? Usually you're in Spartanburg. Let's see here. And then John is starting us off with a question. And then I've got some things that I want to go through tonight too. Oh, there he is. He's a Burmese mountain dog. He's a big dude.
Yes.
Has a big personality too, I'm sure.
There's a lot. Yeah.
All right. So here's John's question for us. John's been looking for land, and so I've been keeping my eyes and ears out. But they're looking for, building. Is it beneficial to buy early, or is it detrimental being out of state to buy land a few years out from building? Let's see here. I don't know. Well, I don't know, Brian, you might be able to chime in here. But
you know what Southerners say, right?
What?
God ain't making any more dirt.
Say it again.
So God ain't making any more dirt.
That is, and nope, not making any more, and it's getting more expensive.
Yeah, that would be kind of my thought there is, if you have a plan to make a move, and this is the tough part, right? Because we can't predict the future very well. But if you have a plan of wanting to make a move, this might be the cheapest it might be, right? And it's one of those conversations you don't want to. It's very car salesman like. You don't want to try to have that of like, hey, if you don't get it now, it's going to be gone. But there is truth to it. This probably will be the cheapest it will be moving forward. So
I use the example that like I have people that wanted to buy, like they bought land in Travelers Rest like 7-8 years ago. And no joke, it was only like $12,000 to $14,000 an acre in like really close Travelers Rest areas.
Right.
Now it is $40,000 an acre is the last time I looked at it.
Yep.
And so that's my thought about it too. If you find the right land and it's in the great location, if you're okay getting like a well and a septic, but if you don't, septics don't scare me.
Right.
But if you got to put in a well, it's just really expensive.
I
So
can imagine.
I would at least make sure that you could tie into public water, and then like I would buy that.
Right.
But that's my thought.
The other side of the coin there too would be, one of the things a lot of people will struggle with is this the world's best decision, right? If a stranger looks at my decision making, what are they going to think of it? I don't necessarily people don't think of it in that specific terminology, but there is
Mhm.
that feeling of I've got to make the best decision because if I don't, then I failed.
Mhm.
A lot of times what I advise my clients when I'm talking to them about making the best lending choice is
Mhm.
comes down to what is going to make you most comfortable, what is going to check the boxes that you have made for yourself, because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, if you are accomplishing what you want to accomplish, you're going to be much happier than just trying to get the best of whatever it is
Yeah.
because someone told you that's how it needed to be. So it's a tough balance, right? You don't want FOMO, but we also want to make sure we don't leave behind a good situation too.
And I have I actually just took a new listing yesterday that
Right.
is it's like your perfect little rental property right outside of Greenville. It's this little $250,000 house. But I was talking to her and she owns multiple rentals, but they actually bought 3 acres here like right in outside of the like Travelers Rest city limits,
Mhm.
and she wasn't finding what she wanted, but like it had to have a pond on it and it had
Oh,
to
wow.
be like not too far out from everything. So she literally went to like county GIS and went through, found all of the parcels that she could find in the local area she wanted to be in with the amount of acreage that had a pond on it, and hand wrote the owners as a letter saying, I want to buy your property.
Wow.
And she found this 3 acres. It's off of Keeler Mill over here in Travelers Rest. And that's how she bought her land. They're probably not going to build for another 2, 3 years at the earliest.
Wow.
And they've already sat on it for a couple of years.
There you go,
So
John. There you go, John.
there you go, John.
There, there's a strategy. That's a strategy I never would have considered. Some
Oh,
people are just innovative, right?
Brian, that's what we do. We actually do that on the team. We send
Oh, do you
when I
guys really
have
do that?
some,
I've never
yeah,
thought. I've just
I
never
actually,
considered that.
yeah, we when we have somebody who's looking to specifically buy in, like, let's say they want to live in, I don't know, Pebble Creek, um, and then they say, well, I want to be in this neighborhood, so but we need to be in this price range.
Mhm.
As a team, what we do is we send out up to like 200 letters every week just for
Mm.
those
Is that your
buyers.
golden letter? Is that what you refer to as your golden
It's
letter?
called a
I
golden
listen.
letter.
I listen. I don't
Yeah,
always
those letters are
comprehend,
cool.
but I listen.
So funny. Yeah, those letters, they sometimes we match people to houses before they're even on the market, and it's usually
Mm,
a longer thing too. So it's like, hey, we don't actually want to close on this, or we don't want to move for 4 to 6 months.
right.
And but we can go ahead and do this, and they can like lease back the house from them and make a little bit of money,
Mhm.
and everybody can take their time moving. It works really well. I also find listings that way. It's great. So
It's
let's
phenomenal.
see here.
Phenomenal. There's some phenomenal insight there too. I like the thing with the land though. That was awesome. So John,
Mhm. Yeah,
when
John
you get
says looking at $80,000 an acre in New Jersey. Holy crap. I mean, New
smaller state,
Jersey's
right?
tiny,
Smaller state.
tiny. Yes. Let's see here. Paige says not 40,000 isn't bad either. My goodness, y'all. Here in Southwest Florida, 2-lot site is starting to, at one,
Southwest Florida.
that's wow. That's expensive. Yeah. I've not seen that here. I have seen some builders charging lot premiums. And so those lot premiums in certain neighborhoods can go upwards of like 50 to $60,000. Yeah, for like there's a new neighborhood up in Campobello that SK is building.
Okay. A
And
little bit nicer, not your. I'm
yeah,
sorry, I don't
like
want to trash talk anybody here,
we're
but
not going to trash talk, but they are a little bit of a nicer build, maybe. Don't do it.
SK does a good job.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Anyways, like
What's acreage going for in Southern California?
yeah, Jamie. Hey, hello, hi from Southern California. How's it going? Yeah, we're talking acreage in comparison to South Carolina. So let us know what you think
Yeah.
selling
We
for.
trade beans for acres here, by the way, just if anybody just tuned in. Want to know how we do things in South Carolina?
Kidney beans
Got some canned
or black
goods?
beans.
I'll trade you some land.
All right. I promised we would talk about. So tell us. We're in 2025, and last year we talked about like would we see the interest rates fall in the new year? Well, now we're in February after the month that never ended. Thank goodness we are out of January. We officially have a new president. And I don't care what political side you are on. This is a politically agnostic show. But
Chat's been locked down. I'm just kidding.
no more. So what do you think? Are we going to see? Are you seeing what's happening right now with interest rates? Because we've got people that are coming in over the next like 3 to 4 weeks, and they're all starting to be like, okay, we're ready to buy. A lot of them have houses to sell. So we're watching markets, but like, what are you seeing in the financing world?
So, what's very interesting, and I've heard some people I've heard this, I'm not making this up, where people are like, hey, we're going to wait till the inauguration happens. That's when things will change. Really, as far as interest rates, they haven't done much of anything different. And the reason why is because Wall Street was already, right before the election results had been announced, Wall Street and the rest of the world were already assuming a Trump win. There was I forgot the name of the website, but people could go and bet that you could bet on literally anything, and they were betting on the presidential race. And I think literally maybe the day before, it just shot up Trump. The stock market, Wall Street itself, bond market, everything was already reacting to that as well. So rates today, or even rates 4 months ago, were already reflecting a Trump win, or 3 months ago, already reflecting a Trump win. So that all that stuff now is over and done with. So rates today don't really care about the inauguration. They don't, as far as what Trump's doing with the executive orders, they're not really reacting to it.
Okay.
So other than maybe the tariffs, this past
That's
week was
the big one.
Yeah, this past week was a little interesting. So a lot Wall Street, or if you read anything on the internet, any economists are going to talk about how the tariffs are going to be inflationary, which is not good for interest rates. We want to see inflation go down. So meaning if tariffs are inflationary, meaning things get more expensive. And if that's the case, they think that means rates are going to remain where they are. Not really a huge threat of a giant spike, but at the same time, nobody can predict it.
So right now, like hypothetically, I'm not holding you to anything, but let's say I have like a decent credit score and like I'm getting, I don't know, conventional financing. What interest rate range are we in?
First time buyer?
We can be a first time home buyer. I know that a lot of people that end up watching are not first time home buyers.
I will differentiate real quick then.
Okay.
First time home buyer, probably looking at about 7% on conventional. If you are not a first time home buyer, if you want to get that same rate that first time home buyer is going to be getting, you're going to probably put 25% down. If you don't, go ahead.
Wait, why? Why
the
would a first-time
FHFA,
homebuyer-
it's an arm of the government, charges repeat buyers something called a loan level price adjustment. So if you're a repeat financer or a repeat buyer, they charge you it'll come across as a discount point, but they charge you a fee is what it is. So the government wants to make a little extra money on your
Mhm.
transaction. So that's why when we talk about if you put 25% down, you don't get charged that fee. It actually goes away. So
Mm.
as you decrease your down payment, your fee goes up. So you can
Mhm.
still get 7%, but there's a little cost that typically comes with it. And that's just going to
Huh.
shout out a website here. So hopefully it's
Go
not a
for
bad
it.
promotion.
Yeah.
Mortgage News Daily is where I love to go for
Wait,
non-biased
hold on.
information.
What is it? Mortgage what?
Mortgage News Daily. Yeah,
News.
oh, I forgot. We can pull that up on the screen.
Yeah, hold up. That's totally what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Do,
My
do,
favorite
do.
place other than, I mean, Google's just all over the place.
This one, right?
MSNBC doesn't. Yep, that's it right there. So if you
Oh,
actually scroll down a skosh, see
okay.
your mortgage rates down here.
Ghost. You're here?
And yep, Matt Graham is the guy that runs this thing. He's super smart.
Nice.
I've learned a lot. This is a really good example of where I'm getting the 7% from. Is right there on that
Okay.
chart.
Got it. Awesome. Yeah, I've had some clients recently that have also decided to go FHA because interest rates are is this typical? Like, is this what I'm seeing? Like 30-year fix, that's going to be a conventional loan.
Right. There's a lot of moving parts to this. So we
Uh-huh.
can look at So when I advise my clients, I'm always doing,
Mhm.
I got multiple categories so we can put numbers side by side. Some people, FHA makes a lot of sense because maybe their credit
Mhm.
score is not as great.
Uh-huh.
What's going to come into play here is really the mortgage insurance. Sometimes the conventional mortgage insurance
Oh,
is more expensive than FHA. So
okay.
combine FHA with a lower rate and the cheaper mortgage insurance, it's a no-brainer, right? We look at how much money you spend over the next 3 and 5 years. So we don't just look at the payment and the rate. We
Mhm.
also look at were the actual costs over time. I don't go past 5 years. Most people don't keep their mortgage that long.
Mhm.
So it's not don't a lot of people get caught up in the rate. What really comes
Yeah.
down to is how much money you're going to be spending. So I'm not surprised to see that maybe if some of your buyers were working with a lender who was actually breaking down those
Mhm.
numbers, that they ultimately
Yeah.
decided to go FHA.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
You
Yeah,
can't
I just
see it. I'm hand motioning a lot. Maybe I should just talk like this.
Oh, here,
No,
here. Look
15.
at Paul. Paul's jumping into the chat
I
tonight.
wouldn't
Hey,
be
Paul, how's
shocked. I'm just
it going?
gonna spitball. Can I
Look
spitball?
at this. Go for it.
40% down. Once you get past 25, it doesn't really change much as far as the
Right.
rate goes. So you don't get additional benefit. Now, 15-year going on a shorter term, you do get a little bit of more of a benefit. So I wouldn't be shocked. It might even show it on Mortgage News Daily. So Paul, if you want to go check out Mortgage News Daily,
I
I
think it
wouldn't be
does
shocked if
over
you saw
here.
6 and 3/4. Oh, we're still
I
there.
mean,
Oh,
yeah, it
wow.
says
6.37.
15.
So
Yeah.
not a real rate there. You might be 6 and 1/4. It could be 6.375.
Right.
So that might be what you could reasonably be expecting, as long as your
Yeah.
score is at least a 780 or better.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. So, like, as we are going like into the rest of the year, I don't know. My opinion just, and I'm not a lender, so my opinion doesn't matter as much. But I think we're gonna kind of stay steady. We're not gonna see any big crazy, spikes, and we're definitely not gonna see any like dips like they've predicted in years past.
The
So,
prediction changed a lot.
mhm,
So go back a couple years. Hey, in six
mhm,
months, we'll be back down
mhm,
sixes and the fives. If you go back to Fannie Mae, Moody's, Wells Fargo, any place you want to go, and you look at their forecast going, well, I think it's Fannie Mae
mhm,
did the longer forecast 2 years out. We were supposed to be
mhm.
back in the fours by now.
Yeah,
Um, Nobody's gotten it right. Everybody's been pretty wrong on the ugly side. So this most recent one that came out
yeah.
was very conservative, 6.5, maybe low sixes. The consensus was we might end the year at six, just under 6.5. I
Okay.
don't think that's entirely unreasonable, but I think
No.
your assessment is pretty good. I don't, except for I think we could see swings. We could see
Yeah.
some swings. We call it volatility. So
Mhm,
1 week we could jump up to 7.5 and ride that 7.5 all the way down to a low sixes over the course of three
mhm.
months, and then it goes right back up to seven again.
Yeah. I think the big conversation that I'm getting right now is like we're just gonna wait for the interest rates to calm down a little bit. I'm like, they're calmed down. This is it. I don't know. Like that's what I'm feeling because I just feel
Right.
like, this past summer we were talking like 6.5 to 7%. And then at one point we saw them spike even more than that a little bit. And then, the sky was falling and they were like, it's gonna go to 9%. And I was like, I'm
Heard it. Yep.
out. I'm out.
Yeah.
But people still buy houses. That's the thing.
They still buy houses.
I mean, yeah.
Sorry.
No, keep going.
So they still buy houses for sure. Gosh, there was a thought that just triggered in my head and just jumped straight out of my ear.
No.
Oh, okay. So waiting for rates to come down. There's a couple of thoughts here. There's a saying on Wall Street, the best made move was yesterday. The other thought is the buyer's market. You and I were kind of piddling around with some statistics earlier. This is a full-blown buyer's market now, in my opinion. And while we're not seeing
here in a minute that says different, but yeah, keep going.
Oh, really? Okay. Because what I'm seeing are contracts. I'm getting contracts in with $10,000 seller credit, $7,000 in seller credit. We're using that to buy the interest rate down into the mid to low fives on an FHA. So when we talk about where the standard rate is, maybe at 7, 6.5, or wherever we may end up landing, using that seller credit to get the rate down. I mean, I asked somebody one time, I said, hey, listen, he said, the rates are too high. I went from the come down. Okay, come down to what? And this was September, around that time.
Great question. Come down to what?
What would it be, right? Because if that's the case, how far away are we, right? And back in September, rates were actually a pretty good spot. The average rate was maybe low sixes at the time. And I was like, well, theoretically, we could get your rate bought down to the fours. And it was funny because before I said that, he said, well, maybe something like 4 and 3/4. I'm like, awesome. Let me show you something. We're at like 4.875. So we're there. What are we waiting for? So when I mentioned earlier, creative financing, those are the things that you are looking for too, right?
Oh,
people
yeah,
on the team are looking for. We're teaming up on and figuring out.
Yeah. I think that's the big thing too, is like when people are looking at resale versus the new construction stuff. And here's what I know we're going to be seeing a big difference. And I would love to know if you have thoughts on this. So a third of the market in the upstate is new construction. It is literally like, it is destroying the resale market. Whenever it comes to like, you've got this perfect $325,000 house that's like 7 years old, but then 3 minutes down the road, you have the same $325,000 house, or it's $340,000. But the incentives there are, well, here's $18,000 in flex cash, and they use it to buy down the interest rate.
Yep.
Like that's how they can go and advertise 4.5% interest rates or 4.99 interest rates, and you are paying for it still.
Correct. Yeah.
So
they've got to work around on it though. That lenders on my side, lenders like me, we don't have the luxury of doing that. I wish we did. So yeah.
It's hard. It's hard. I know we've had so many conversations around this where I'm like, Brian, they need pre-approved and they're probably going to go do construction. Just don't get your heart tied up with them.
But it's such a good option for some people. And everything has a place, right? And so in the spirit of that, it does, we need people to buy new houses. New houses need to be built because if it didn't happen, prices would just get even worse. So it does have its place. Sometimes it does hurt, I will admit, but I also still get to serve people and we still close loans on existing homes. So it's all good.
Believe me. So, okay. So I'm going to go to like one, we, have the multiple listing service and love answering questions that are map related. So just as a quick, like, hey, this is where we're at. It's the map. The red X is us. And we have people looking all over the place, but we serve pretty much this entire area. Let's just draw the box. Draw the box. We'll go from here to here to here, all the way to here. Here we kind of sometimes go to Greenwood. Greenwood's okay, but there's really nothing there. And out here to Simpsonville and Spartanburg. So, what do you think
Shout
of
out
Greenwood?
Greenwood.
There's nothing out there. There's a lake. There's a good lake.
There's a really good pizza place downtown Greenwood, actually just outside downtown, Millhouse.
Yeah.
I really like it. Yep. If you're ever passing through,
the only time I go down there is sometimes I've got people that want to be near Lake Greenwood. It's a thing.
Shout out Millhouse.
So pizza. So anyways, so no, just as a reminder, this is where we serve here. And golly, we go all over the place. I mean, you can convince me to go down to like Lawrence and Clinton every so often. But
at least Lawrence is the interstate, right? You can hop on 385 or I forget whenever 385 turns into 26, but
it's the worst. Can I tell you why I think that it's the worst where 85 turns into 385 or vice versa?
No, you haven't told me, but I'd like to hear.
The troopers, the highway troopers hang out right there, and I'm always going too fast.
Have you ever considered it might be an inside job?
It could be. It could be. Just saying that I was. Yes. So anyways,
someone might be just cluing someone else in.
Just letting you know. Slow down.
Yeah.
So anyways, no. So if you guys have anything you want me to look up tonight, would love to get into the map and look at things. Brian, if you have anything you want me to look up, this is the MLS and it's the back end of things. It's fun. But anyways, I actually wanted to pull this up because I want to dissect this with you a little bit. Because this is what tells us, is it a buyer's market or is it a seller's market? So here's my understanding of how you say what a buyer's market is. A buyer's market is when you have more than 6 months worth of inventory. So as of right now, our average days on market since December 10th, it is gone up. But our solds here, so currently actives, and these are the two, like I just watch all of this on this side. Everything is up 6.5, 10%, almost 11%. I'm seeing houses stay on the market so much longer. And I feel like houses, like everything's overpriced. Do you feel that way?
That's a tough one, overpriced. Because I think this is interesting because now I'm starting to voice some of my opinions based off what I see. So I got to tread lightly. I don't necessarily feel like things are overpriced, but I think what's tough is you can still have the home priced right. And what I mean by that is you can look at other comps, maybe look at some sales from the past 3 to 6 months. But 6 months ago, I got to do math now, but 6 months ago puts us at the very tail end of the hottest time of the year. Like we're cooling off. So we naturally dip into this is the time of the year where it's the slowest. We're going into the spring, it picks up. So it's
we'll see.
It's hard to tell when something, I mean, you can tell when something's overpriced in certain cases. The other problem too is interest rate and demand is also going to, when the demand's just not there, something could be priced right, but if the demand's not there, it's got to come down. I don't think it's about it being wrong, though.
True. Oh man, trying to call me at like 8:45.
Oh, that was me. Sorry, I was just
trying
to see if you're.
It's totally you, right? Absolutely. I'm like, who's calling me at 8:40 at night? Come on now, we have things that we're doing.
It's right.
We'll call him back. It'll be fine. So. I don't know. According to this and according to stats, it's still considered a seller's market. But
that's fair.
we are seeing pricing. Like if you see something that's been on the market for more than 2 weeks, it's probably $10,000 to $20,000 off price.
Mm.
And that's why like we're seeing these houses that, you know, they've been on the market for a minute, but like I can go in with an offer. Say the house is listed at 450. I'm going to go in with an offer at like, and it's been on the market for 3 months and it hasn't seen a price change. I'm going to go in with an offer that's $30,000 less,
Mm-hmm.
or an offer that is a little bit higher. And like you said, like $10,000 in closing costs, $15,000 in closing cost assessments.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I mean, and that goes for, I mean, we've got a cash transaction that's closing next week. And the house had been on the market since the end of October.
Mm.
And it had dropped $25,000. And then we still took a lower offer on, just because it's cash and we don't have to worry about some financing contingencies. So
Wow.
these numbers here, like, I don't know, I'm really interested to see what all of 2024 ended up being. But I am seeing this. Our average prices are going down. So the market's adjusting. I think I always think this is interesting. Like you can definitely tell the COVID years here. Average days on market.
Man, yeah, it was
27
fast.
days on market.
It was like
I
speed dating.
wanted to die.
Oh my gosh. I was
It
having a
was,
great time. I don't know what you're talking about.
you know what? It was a great time. We made, you know, we helped lots of people. I think we sold 101 houses that year.
Wow.
But
Well, you know,
20,
it's easy for me to say I had a great time because I sat in the air conditioning in my
yeah,
chair. You were driving around in your swanky car, by the way.
my
It's
car is
beautiful.
awesome, by the way. It's 3 years old. Y'all see it in the videos. It's great. Yes, I drive an all electric vehicle. I'm thinking about getting another one.
But it's fast. It's
It
fast.
is fast. It
It's
is
very
fast.
fast.
So,
I want to ask you a question.
okay, ask me a question.
Hopefully it doesn't put you on the spot because I don't want to get in trouble
Oh
with
no.
Aubree
Oh
Lewis.
man.
So when you're having this conversation with a client, right? You're talking
Mhm.
about seller market, buyer market, and we are seeing, you know, we're talking about other statistics you were just sharing with days on market longer. You know, see the median average kind of tick down and
Mhm.
tick a little bit. Again,
Yeah.
slowest months of the year.
Truth.
How does that conversation sound like with your buyers or even your sellers, right?
Yeah.
When people are looking at that and they're trying to understand what could the future potentially look like, what does that
Mhm.
sound like coming from Aubree?
Oh man. 2 very different conversations, and I have stories for all of them.
Mm.
So from the buyer side of the conversation, I don't know, it's a lot of fun. That conversation is, okay, here we go. We're seeing prices coming down. We're seeing longer days on market. You actually may have like I've got somebody who's relocating here from Arizona right now, and they're not going to buy a house unless they walk in it.
Mm.
During 2022, 2021, I would say you don't have time to hop on the airplane and be
Yeah.
here within 24, 48 hours. You don't have the time. But now I get to say, cool, you've got the time. Get here. Let's go walk it and buy it. So that's cool. And it's a lot of like, we actually have negotiation power. Even on, I had my first multiple offer situation I did where I represented a buyer client at the beginning of the year. And we still, I mean, the house was priced at 350. We went under contract at 360. And like the appraisal came in really good. And like, but there were multiple offers on that house. But and I think the listing agent knew that not all offers were created equal. We had a nice clean offer. We knew what we were doing. We were easy to work with. Like, here we go.
That's
That
valuable.
conversation is so different on the seller side right now. I actually had a conversation with a seller yesterday and like, here's the price. And they were like, yeah, but I like this price. And I was like, I mean, if you're okay chasing the market down and then making ultimately less than you could have,
Right.
then yeah, we can do that. But if you want to make money or potentially more money than you would, you'll price it here where the market's telling us actually slightly below that.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and we still argued back and forth a little bit because I don't know, experience is the best teacher, I think, in real estate, especially when it's time to listen to your realtor. I had a client from last year that decided to overprice their home by $100,000. And I was like, I don't think we were supposed to do that.
Are we trying to
And
scare people away?
I mean, and I was like, okay. And we sat on the market
Hmm.
for the entire time, and we got one showing for, I think, 5 months.
Right.
And I was like, well, I mean, if you're willing to chase the market down and ultimately not make as much money because you want to try out that higher price, because
Right.
actually how it happens, and
Right.
this is the conversation I have with sellers, is if you actually start a little bit lower than the price ultimately needs to be, you're going to get multiple offers. The price is going to rise higher than the market price, and you're going to make more money. So trust
Yeah,
me.
I agree. Get that
Like,
competitive multi-offer situation.
well, and then you can also, we can show it on paper that happens. But even then, some people are just stubborn. So, and that's okay.
It's tough, right? Because
Yeah.
this is your property, right? This has
Mhm.
some intrinsic value, some sentimental value.
Mhm.
You want to get the most out of everything. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, um, but it's kind of, put one of those things like, man, I got to put myself in that person's shoes to kind of go, okay, now I kind of see where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking about the buyers too, when they're looking at their phones and they're like, okay, as a lender, and I'm saying, hey, this is the price range that we're in. Guess what they're going
Mhm.
to do? They're going to stay in that price range. So especially if we
Yeah.
notice that one house that was overpriced by $100,000, it's going to stick out like a sore
Mhm.
thumb because that house doesn't look like the others.
Yeah.
So um,
Not at all.
it's a while. One of the things I was thinking about though, with especially our buyers, right? People concerned are like, hey,
Mhm.
what's going to happen with the economy? And
Yeah.
when I'm talking about numbers with people, I always go, remember, we're not buying stocks, right? We're not buying a car. We're not
Yeah.
expecting this to explode in value in the next year or two, right? This is something that you're committing to
Be
for a longer period of
consistent.
time, right?
Yeah.
5 to 10 years maybe?
Well, I mean, everybody since 2019 has been completely spoiled rotten.
Mhm.
And, I've got kids, like, kids, I said, like, the first time home buyers from, 2020 that
Mhm.
bought their first house that, because the interest rates were low, the prices were still okay, and they bought that first house. And then in 2021, 2022, the prices exploded.
Yep.
And all of a sudden they're sitting on $80,000. It's more money than they've had in their entire life.
That was me.
Yeah. And like I capitalized on it as well. I bought a new
Mhm.
house in 2019. It was my second house. I mean, we stayed in that house for 5 years and we made $300,000.
Bonker. That's wild. That's so cool.
It's
And it's
crazy.
not even 2019. If you
Mhm.
go back and look at somewhere between 6 and 7 years after the beginning of the great
Mhm.
financial crisis, you
Yeah.
start to see recovery in home values, especially in South Carolina. You're talking about 5% year over year, 2013, 2014, 2015,
Mhm.
2016, 2017. And we've been spoiled for a very long time
Yes.
of this upward trend of home of appreciation, and then the
Mhm.
explosion. At some point, it has to stop, right?
Yes.
There's too many people though on the mountaintop screaming about a crash, right? A real estate crash,
Yeah.
different situation. We don't have the credit crunch
Looking at all
issue.
those people that comment on the YouTube videos that we have posted that say, "Oh, the market's going to crash."
Well, I do. It's kind of one of those things of, and I don't want to say I'm not giving credit to these people, but
Mhm.
I think it's some people just have in their mind, if I say it enough times, at some point I'll be right. Right? It's almost like the broken clock is right twice a day. But it's almost like, well, if I just keep yelling it, maybe one point and only get recognition
Mhm.
when something actually happens, right?
Yeah.
But when you compare the two events together, we're not having major job losses. That was a big factor during that great
Mhm.
financial crisis. Major job losses. People can't pay their bills. They can't pay their mortgage. They're going to
Mhm.
foreclose, and then it has just this giant trickle down effect. We're not
Yeah.
even in that
Yeah.
situation right now.
Not even
Unemployment
close.
Unemployment's at its lowest ever still.
Mhm.
Part of the struggle why rates are where they are is because inflation. We have really good almost a full employment.
Mhm.
People are making money. Some people may say, I'm not making any money. I'm sorry, but it's statistically proven people are making more money than
People
ever.
are.
The economy's strong. That's why we're still seeing people buy houses. That's why home
Yeah.
prices are going up. So there's just no signs for a housing market crash. Are things a little bit
Mhm.
slower? Yes, but it's by choice.
Exactly. All right, I want to answer John's question here before we wrap up for the night. So John, you're asking about lots for sale, 1 to 2 acre size with city water, septic is fine. Or best
Ooh.
suggestion. Okay. Or Traveler's Rest. And while Brian was going through that, I went ahead and looked it up here. So here we go.
Drum roll.
MLS. There are 9 options
All right.
in that, and I went a little bit lower and I went a little bit higher. In those specific areas, what is for sale? And found just a couple options here. The lowest priced option though is $110,000. I just think that's wild for not even 2 acres. This is
In Spartanburg,
$75,000 an acre.
Spartanburg County.
Spartanburg County, yeah, it's out there. And that's some grading because look, there's
I was
some
gonna say,
water
I
right
hope
there
I hope
too.
you want to.
You're
Is
just
it
gonna have to scalp
waterfront?
it. Yeah,
Waterfront property.
waterfront. There you go. Man, here's 124. This is in Traveler's Rest. Oh, cool. This is here's 25.
Is that a little lot to the left of that? Was there like a little sliver?
This, yeah. There's it looks like this is a screenshot from
25.
CRS. Oh my
Where
word.
where is that on 25? That's wild.
I don't know. It's there's Bellevue, Foothills Baptist Church. Where is that? It's not crazy far up. So there's the
What
junction in TR.
like
I don't know. It's not far. There's Locust Hill out there. So I think it's maybe 5-10 minutes up 25, probably 5 minutes up 25.
looks like before you get to the North Greenville turnoff,
Mm-hmm.
possibly.
But it's right on 25. And 25 is
Good access.
busy.
Good access to Hendersonville,
That is also
Asheville,
true. Yes.
Greenville.
Greer,
I forgot about Greer.
everywhere.
Yeah. 25 can take you down to the Augusta if you want to go see pictures.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, there's options here, but this is the budget that we're looking at. I want to live on a place called Tropicana. Jeez,
What are the chances that has an orange grove?
it might. Anyways,
This
all
might
right.
be the last time I'm on Aubree's show.
We just laugh the entire time. It's fine. Oh, geez. Oh, man. John, we're going to keep looking. So we'll see what's down to half an acre as well. Lot more options whenever we go smaller. We're going to go this one more time, and then I've got one more question for Brian, and then we're going to wrap up for the night. See a lot more options here, but here you go. We've got some $80,000 lots, 0.65. What are these on Dean Williams Road? Wonder where that is. Oh, that's not bad. Locust Hill is a main is a main road to get into Taylor's Greer area, so that's not bad. That's actually cool. I'd want to drive out there, see what's there. So, and they've only been on the market for 8 days, which means they're probably not going to stick around very long. That's a good price. So cool. Awesome. All right. We looked at it. All right, Brian.
All right.
For
I'm ready.
February.
Okay.
What are you doing for your wife for Valentine's Day?
Ooh. Well, guys, it was great talking with everyone. Thank you for listening and tuning in.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. No, like, are you what are you thinking is going to happen in just the rest of first quarter? Let's help our people out that are thinking about buying a house.
Sure.
You think interest rates are going to stay still? I think prices are going to pretty much stay about the same, not go up too crazy.
Right. So rates, it's interesting. They've gotten a little bit better over the past couple of weeks, and we're talking about 1/8 of a point, nothing crazy, nothing huge. Right now, we're taking it day by day. I think we're gonna kind of stay the course. I wouldn't be surprised if rates just kind of hang around that 7% mark. So maybe for a week or two, we're at 6.875, and then for the next couple of weeks, we're at 6.25 or 7.25, and then we come back down. So we're going to be just kind of bouncing around that 7%. I would assume.
Yeah, that's about what I'm thinking too. So not.
I don't even know what you need me for then.
I need you to make sure that we get good, solid pre-approvals and we don't have anything crazy going on, like finding septic tanks underneath houses. That's my job. So,
well, I try to find the septic tanks and credit scores. So,
that's it. That's what we're negotiating right now is a septic tank under a house. Go us. So, story times with Aubree, just create the start to the year has been insane. So anyways, okay. Well, Brian, thank you so much for joining me and for talking about all things, interest rates and real estate and I don't know, making me laugh a lot. So it's always a pleasure and lots of fun.
Thanks for having me.
So
happy to be here.
Here's my quick last plug here. But if you are watching tonight and you need a pre-approval or you're like, do I need a pre-approval yet? Or do I need to talk about my financing? You need to reach out to Brian. We'll make sure we put his information in the description of the video after we're done, if it's not already there. And so you can reach out to him and say you saw him on the live stream. Cool. So cool. All right, Brian, thanks so much.
Thanks, Aubree.
And guys, thanks so much for joining us. And we'll see you next time. All right, bye.